In this review, I'm going to look at something else than a lens for a change, namely a dot sight. So you may ask, what is it used for? According to TTArtisan, they developed this dot sight mainly because of the photographers' shooting needs. Bird photographers and astrophotographers have a very narrow angle of view when using a telephoto lens, which makes it difficult to quickly target the shooting area. The dot sight is close to the normal angle of view of the human eye, which helps photographers quickly target the shooting area. Well, if you photograph birds in flight or any fast-moving subjects, a dot sight for your camera could be an aid to you. Let's have a look. You can also read this review as a blog post if you would like so. I leave the link to the blog post in the description below. TTArtisan kindly provided this dot sight for review and test purposes, but this is a totally independent review. So, what is a dot sight? Dot sights are traditionally designed for quick target acquisition and are primarily used for close-range shooting, that's with rifles. They typically have a simple reticle, usually a single illuminated dot, and offer no magnification. Since 8-10 years ago, they have been designed for camera use also. You may also ask, why do I need a dot sight? In general, capturing flying birds is not that easy, especially if you are not an experienced bird photographer with years of experience. Normally you see a bird and you want to photograph it using a long telephoto lens. Firstly, it is a little hard to find the bird you are watching in the viewfinder. You have to move the camera to the left and right, up and down to find it. Sometimes you can't do it anyway and have to take your eye from the viewfinder to see the bird and then try again. By the time you succeed to frame the bird, maybe it has flown away. This is the case for a bird that is still. If you want to photograph a flying bird, landing or taking off, it becomes multiple folds more difficult. The difficulty is that the angle of view you see in the viewfinder is very narrow when using telephoto lenses. Human eye have a field of view of about 180 degrees. This allows us to see birds and determine which way they are moving. When they fly, we can tell if they fly up or down, or if they change direction very easily. While you are looking through the viewfinder, the angle of view is only 5 to 8 degrees, or less depending on the lens. Now let's look at the dot sight and its functionality. The TTArtisan Dot Sight is a collapsible device that is switched off when it is collapsed and it is turned on when it is opened. It is made mostly of hard plastic with some metallic details. That's arms that opens and holds the dot sight open. You open the dot sight by a switch on the rear of the dot sight. There are two knobs, one on each side of the dot sight, by which you can calibrate the horizontal and vertical placement of the reticle. On the rear of the dot sights, you have three buttons. From right to left, one for selecting the reticle's color between green and red, one for increasing brightness of the reticle, which is useful in bright sunny days, and one for decreasing the brightness of the reticle. There is also a lever at the shoe mount to lock the dot sight in place. The dot sight operates on a CR2023 lithium coin cell battery, which is not included in the package, so remember to purchase the battery separately to avoid disappointment when unpacking the device. To open the battery compartment, you have to push and keep the battery chamber lock pin pressed with a pen or other pointed object and slide the cover open. Before you can use the dot sight, you have to calibrate it for your lens. And if you are using a zoom lens, then you have to calibrate it for the focal length of the zoom lens that you are going to shoot with. So here I'm going to shoot with 400 millimeter. I zoom to 400 millimeter first, and then I pick a target at least 10 meters away. And then try to adjust the camera position so that the target is dead center in the viewfinder. I have actually put a target about 13 or 14 meters away, and then I try to adjust the camera position. Now the target is in the dead center of the viewfinder. The next step is to switch the dot sight on. You look through the dot sight, and then you see the reticle, a circle. In my case, I have put it on green. And then I try to move the reticle with the help of these two knobs at both sides of the dot sight, so that the reticle is exactly on the same target. So now I have to lower it a little bit, and then draw it a little bit to the left. And now it's in the dead center. And then you try to target your subject by putting the reticle, the mark in the dot sight, on your subject. When it's on the subject, you know that the subject is in the center of the viewfinder or the center of the frame. If a bird is flying, it's much easier to follow with both eyes when you also look through the dot sight. Unfortunately, you have to redo this calibration if you take off the dot sight. And this is because the dot sight has a little play when it's put in the camera hot shoe. When you take it off and put it on again, you can never be sure that you have put it in the exact same position. The play is not much. It's maybe just 1 degree or 2 degrees, but 1 or 2 degree, 15 meters away, in a so small angle of view, it will be a lot. That's why you have to do it again. This is also a problem when you lock the dot sight on the hot shoe. You have to turn the lock to the right, and when you do it, it's very easy that to push the rear of the dot sight to the right. It means that the front of the dot sight will be turned to the left a little bit. And then when you try to calibrate it on the tripod, as it is pushed a little bit towards left, you cannot move the reticle to the right enough so that it is in the center of the target. This means that the dot sight is turned a little bit to the left. And then you have to just loosen it and make it a little bit to the right, and try to hold it and lock it without turning the dot sight. Otherwise you cannot calibrate it exactly. Okay, that's it.
I'd like to mention that this play is not specific to TTArtisan's Dot Sight. You can do that even when you attach a Nikon speedlight in the hot shoe. However, while this does not pose any problems when using speedlights, it has a serious impact on the dot sight. Now to the conclusion. The big question is whether it is helpful. The answer is yes, especially if you are not an experienced bird photographer. It definitely speeds up the targeting of the bird, whether it's still or flying. It also simplifies the process of following flying birds. I have photographed birds before, but I have never had as many successful framings as I have had with the dot sight. Compared to the competition, if you get them as they seem to be discontinued, it's much cheaper. Of course, not everything is like walking in a rose garden with the dot sight. You have to get used to it, which is normally a relatively quick process. The way you need to hold the camera can quickly exhaust your arms, making you tired and leading to shorter photo sessions. Needing to calibrate it every time you attach it on the camera or use a new lens can be a little discouraging. All that said, if you have invested in a long telephoto lens to photograph birds, this is just a fraction of investment, but would help you improve your success rate several times, especially in the beginning, and to a very budget-friendly price. As mentioned earlier, this review exists in written format on our blog site. I put a link to the blog post in the description below. Huge thanks for watching. Any comments are most welcome. If you liked this video, give it the thumbs up. And for more content like this, please subscribe if you haven't done so yet. Until the next video, have a fantastic time everyone.